So Let me remind every one of ourselves to take a moment and cultivate the highest form of motivation. We call it Bodhisattva motivation, or the altruistic motivation, seeking Buddhahood, enlightenment for the sake of all other sentient beings. With that kind of at least contrived Bodhisattva motivation, we should participate in this continuing discourse. So to continue where we left off, those of you who have this English translation of the commentary called The Profound Reality of Interdependence, we're on page 143. So as Geshe reminded us, that in one way we can think of three things which keep us going round and round in samsara. And so these are, of course, karma, karmic action, afflictive emotions, and within this it is craving. In my footnote, it's intense form of attachment. So among afflictive emotions or delusions, craving is regarded as a primary delusion that keeps us in samsara.
Debe sibada, sibe sibada, jibe siba u heso sumus, teres siba yang jonga shiba ni, ngangzu shiba paji, seksonji, mao patata debe yusla siba sumte. Yana ngama dorden da chima ni, tade yu toba la menjeba siba da, mao ba yu matoba la tendu ye siba temba jaro deda de so ye ti yo tendu do tomdu ye duisi da da shabi be sisi da dungen do ye jisi de somos da siba da de somos duisi sisi jisi som o terije kanje şeda dade siba gedan jodi modoban debashi etondole menjoshi o direk sin siba tel sin jisi de dungele tendo sin jisi diwa o direk nazil sin doja somsi joris şeda da leda de sin siba son nane dele siba de doşa yoris de hiyo direk da.
So Geshe read a passage in the middle of page 143. There is a citation from a sutra, that reflects the significance of, in Tibetan called seba, craving. And so craving is of three kinds as listed there. What is called desirous craving, debe seba in Tibetan. Existential craving, sibe seba, and then the fearful craving, Geshe in Tibetan. And so all of this really highlight that craving is a primary delusion, afflictive emotion that is very active in us and keeps us in samsara. We crave for things we don't have it yet, something we seek, isn't it? And we do not wish to some things happen in our life. We want to be free from those suffering or those situations. So there's another craving related to that, right? Craving to be free from unwanted things that we might run into in the future.
What is that? Sibakar Jixi the Somjidina that Conja Doja Zoshi, that Madava top the Tobal Minjawa, the Sivasum. Do you see the best comes on Joa? Sisi in the Siba Sibas, Susumi Siba Sisi. Then Jigwe Sibasena, you made the Chedu Siva Siguzero. But there's some. But the Regilia in the Gokona and the Dojada, the Geshe, and the lesson do Jeda led the Siva Igna, the Kazo shares in Dojad Zosharis. Lay on the Jamina, that was Lemon where the Dejabaza is a young lady, Naminu Yomara. Jeda Lay Simon and Yumuena. Les savants saw you move good on Sa Sugar, she could do in that take a call.
So as we mentioned, that there are three types or kinds of craving. Desirous craving, or Dorjee in Tibetan, it really pertains to this attachment, from attachment towards the desire realm of existence. Okay? And then we have existential craving, or Geshe in Tibetan, as Geshe explained. It pertains to the form and formless realms of existence. Then we have the fearful craving, literally translating Geshe. And so that is, as we explained, there's a lot of things we do not want to encounter or face off. We rather would prefer to be free from them. So that's a craving to be free from unwanted things in our life. And so the craving really becomes a drive or a motivational factor, and then we create karma, accumulate, and then the karma ripens, and this is how we kind of go round and round the samsara. And if there is no craving, even if we have karmic remnants or something, these karmas cannot ripen. As Geshe explained, the arahats, arahat or arahant in Pali, are the beings who have completely, abandoned afflictive emotions, including craving. So they may have certain karmas accumulated in the past. I call it remnant karma, but these karmas cannot ripen. So in that sense, craving is more serious or more primary than karmic action.
What the Sivaya, that did not the conscience. The power to me, Mumba Good said, any dot tongue, and Sivas with my Geshe Gyeltsen. So this was
So we also find great Indian master Arya Asanga's compendium of metaphysics, or we called Sutra Samukta, I usually called compendium of sutras. So where he also cited Buddha Sutra, highlighting craving and its different types.
So the teeny le Tamil enjoy don't can did a Siva go and the Siva go Tamil enjoy them. Negataji enjoy, Tibetan enjoy. Come sometimes enjoy them. So times enjoy them. Number times enjoy. Yes, there are you Tobala, Minjawata. Madobala, Madapa Chebe Siba Sibe Chawa Mubo Tamsi Joatam Soa Dungin Jitan Chewa Debe Jobala Minjive Siva Soeniaka Tamsi Durin Deva the Chembatan, Taza the Shabata Mahupala God Tutansi Dutan Dungum so Sum la Siba come some do Deva the Siba Soala Sobe Sobe Soala Sobe Sibe Siba Menjawani Ne Menjawani so Dutan Deva you Lakbar you Lakbar Juata Menjabada Chedu Yuncheva Siba Taji Naba Jamsi Joy Tondos what is it? Because Moba you ever Tandaso you ever Jabitalia Siva Mena de Tondo GSTDL so what to do because two sons Jani Siva Gelguris. So the Siva Gelga the Siva Yin Koal Jale Siva Zosha is Kasali what is it? Sivas the Deja Kundor or this.
So Geshe read from the bottom of page 143, a little bit top of page 144, and so explains that of karma and craving. Craving is a primary cause of how we end up in samsara, and we are still in samsara. And craving relates to all three times, if you will, right? That if we have something in the present, we have craving with regard to that. Now there are things in the future we don't have yet, but we have sort of like this aspirational craving, right? I wonder, okay, and that craving is there, So craving pertains to things already happened, right? And things that is the present and in the future. And from that point of view, as Geshe said, of karma and craving, craving is a primary cause of our existence in samsara.
What there is that Dodi, and Jawad of the Mumba Gudu Kadi, what the given my shake us, what this word, that you are so high and so times you come times you shall any Karsa. 내가 뒤에서는 강하게 건식하다 시바디 히락베 찹셔버리스다 레드 시바니나 시바조셔리스 어때다 가지.
So to substantiate this point, as you can see, a sutra has been quoted, and Asanga's compendium of sutra, here translated as compendium of metaphysics, is quoted, basically to support the contention that craving pervades a lot of things, isn't it? And here it's mentioned that craving pertains to the three realms of existence, the desire realm, the form realm of existence, and the formless realm of existence. Craving is related to the feelings as well, So craving is very pervasive, And so in that sense, it is a primary cause of, samsara.
What did just usually social Yevada Mevada Jungu usually two some shot so I saw they do Ganga, they are the trade, doing the trade, what there is Ganga Chan, they just said the Kira Shabamuri, Kana Bodavada, what there is so Sivati, let the Sivani, Sivat so is going to do that.
So as Geshe explains that craving or seba is usually, we say, is a form of attachment, right? When we look at the primary delusions there. And it's very pervasive, and it pertains to the three realms of existence that we talked about before. It pertains to feelings, right? We have a craving for happiness, or pleasurable feelings. We have a craving for unpleasurable feeling in the sense we do not want ever, to experience them, right? We don't want to do anything with them. And so attachment or craving is, in a sense, very deeply rooted, and it's kind of subtle, isn't it? It is not a surface level, superficial, floating on the surface. It is deeply rooted afflictive emotion.
What is the Koya remembered the Kordu good Himayan, Koa Tredo, Tria, some of the Kordo Marva. Says the Koya delayed the 7 years, didn't the Sibas and Dejadi, Zori, Dejadi, any less our Kadisazaris. Deja made Dajimil, Mangi, Lesa, the late Jongish mother, Lemon, or the Tiaga, Nami, the Yungo Marva. She's called Deja Veza, Tinami Yungo, she's out the seed of the Kavata.
So why we are talking about, say, craving here is because we want to know how, come that we are in samsara and we are still here. And so we would like to know the cause, the reason why we are here. So the reason why, partly to answer that, is craving, brought us here, craving keeps us here, And so that also tells us that if we would like to be free from samsara, now we really need to, overcome and get rid of craving, So it also tells us there is kind of a possibility or way out, right? So we have to recognize what keeps us in samsara. So if we want to get out of samsara, then we know what we need to, get rid of. And as Geshe said before, if we don't have craving, let's say, then even if we have some karma remnants there, they cannot ripen. As we talked about in the case of arhats or arhans, they are completely, free from samsara. But that's a lot of remnant karmas, but many of these karmas will be defined as mangebele, sort of literally translating what called indefinite karmas, in the sense that they cannot, definitely produce result. They cannot ripen. Yes.
What they Kaza, and the Soa said, capture you comes from Ganga, they do Ganga and Joa. So the Mesa Yomars. She controlled the Nimuka come con Yomar, Nimukashi, development with that. The Siba said, comes from Galio in the capture. So the Siba Zori said, you would take the could lace up Savori, could come Gangale, Jikbayori. And he said that Miguel later come con Miguel later Yomara, Sayamari. Says that leg capture maris, Siba capturis, two chorus, Siba bena, Kale major, Siba yuna, Les Avataguri. Lay in the Siba mena, and Gliji Yamaza in the COVID, Nami the Dugan of the Yungo Marivas, or Shazam, this on the any led the Siba Nigan and the Siba two is, or this is what that.
Come con again, control Yomar City, control Munju and Meso, Sana Yomar so was already.
Control Yomar,
San for Yomar.
Yomar, the Pagza, Control never did you. We control Yomar.
Sukam the Sumekam Sigoro. So as Geshe explains that craving is very pervasive. It exists in all the three realms of existence. So that's not necessarily the case with every kind of afflictive emotion or delusion. I double check, triple check with him. The example given is anger. Anger doesn't exist in the higher realms of existence, okay? Whereas craving does. So in that sense, craving is more pervasive than anger. Anger is a delusion, but it doesn't exist in the higher realms of existence. So as Geshe said, if we have craving, we just end up creating karmas. That's how it is. Where craving is, there is karma. But where karma is, there doesn't have to be craving, as in the case of arahats, right? They have a karma, but they don't have a craving. Even the leftover karmas, call it, they don't ripen. They're indefinite karmas.
What did that? Because 어디 뭐 군데 거기 봐 내가 세바니나 진짜 세바 조이고 주제에 얘기해서 어디 되게 좋아져 지마 해위스 어디서
So the explanation Geshe has given is, of course, based upon works like Ngompa Kundi, Compendium of Knowledge, or Abhidhamma Samukcha, where of karma and craving, craving is a primary cause, it's very pervasive, it's kind of deeply rooted.
ngoma kunde otre khya chikse da chema namre le ni yangzi shima le ju zu imbe se gone jang sewa ni zu den des da namre ka so yangzi shima le ju zu le ni tela ka sa ni mo song za ti shan den sha se tang ge xua de le yo na la deja ve na ko jibit pento yo marwa se da namre ka ko le yo da daja ma su jo le yo de nimo me za di nam yo mo ga so direct ti shan shin siba zo me he jas o de so
but namde na against the namde the commerce yang just
namre sama namre se
ba di deshed ko
sama namre ka de se or ga karsa 영지 심말림이 주주임에 샤니
lo
영지 심말림이 주주
aleo
영지 심말림을 레다 니 가자 니모니 고로
la rore
어디는 니모서 이사기 남자가도 니모서이 주제데 영지 심말림이 말아 영 소고도 소 가르에서는 자주먹을 망해를 레마고 여디 니모메스 남이 용고면 도와스
aleno
어디서
no. So we are on top of page 144. There is a citation from Pramanavartika, or Valid Cognition Treatise, here called Commentary on Epistemology. And so Geshe said, so that quote tells us that in terms of rebirth, right, because we will be reborn, so what will precipitate rebirth of karma and delusions, delusions are primary. Right, that would include craving as well. Okay? So again, Geshe said the same thing, that if we don't have delusions, we might have karma, but they may, right, not fruition, like as in the case of the arahats. But if we have delusion, then we will have karmas, you know.
What is then those some number le yangzi shimale ju zo in be gone jang siwa ni to zo den di mi siwa ju ya ma ju siwa ni siwa ju ni pemba yi da temata li le ja mes se da di da sile siwa so na di zo di le in di se lemba se adi nimu se adi res but namre kas di he jas this or that uni pemba shi da temata le ja ko deja de le sa di go diu mi di go ko du ina go ra da silence was a le sa to ju ko sa de ji sa ta ko de wa de to sa ko du ina ko le di ba ra deja de ko du ina le Thomas de ko nyam do go de min le sa ya ma ju mi de so ya ko deja ken she ne nyam do ji ji she ne ju mi go ma de le ji wo ye ja ni mo me na ne le di ju mi ya yo ma ro ti su
tina ke mari ba chi shi do di ka jar ke
mari ba de ko ju zo de shi na ko na ma tham je de ya ko ke sha mari ba de thoma maro so so ma le sa de maro sa ro 파지바 내가 좀 강아지 방아지 거 도고 말아. 그 더워 소도 맞아서 좀 하게 되더라.
알아. 그 예버.
다 되자세데 더워 레사도 고로.
알아.
아티 다 주리야 고메도 줘라 고리. 주민도 들리지 이제 고로. 그 통다 파서는 저 엄마 집에 가 인지셔도 더 봐서 계셔야지. 이거 지고 싶지.
So still Geshe explanation pertains to that citation or quote from Paramana Vartika or Valid Cognition treatise there. There's mention of ignorance and craving in both the signs. So I was double checking what's that all about. Well, ignorance here refers to the first dependent link in the chain of 12 interdependent originations, right? Marigba, avidya is there. But ignorance is kind of like that underlying cause, right? It's always there, right? It's there. And, but craving is kind of in some sense an active delusion that while we are creating karma, it is there. And when the karma is ripening as a result, craving is there, So craving is, at the beginning and while do and at the end, sort of or throughout, very active, afflictive emotion there. So that's why it is a primary cause, explained in that sense. For example, some of the dependent links only show up at a certain point of time when you need to activate the karma, right? For example, what's that? The grasping and the existence links, isn't it? But it's a craving, it's always there throughout kind of thing, It's unlike, it's not an occasional thing at some point it shows up, right? It is there, from beginning to the end. So as Geshe continues to explain that craving, is there in the beginning, middle, and the end, and the sense it is acts as a motivational factor there in the beginning. While you accumulate the karma, it is there, and then when the karma brings its result or produce, it is there. So it is there all the way through. So from that point of view, it's regarded as a primary cause of samsara as compared to karma. Karma is secondary as compared to craving. And in other words, another way to look at this is that craving also acts as what we call, technical term, the simultaneously cooperative condition factor, isn't it? Things do not manifest on its own. There have to be conditions, right, playing into that. And craving acts as that. So if you don't have craving as a cooperative condition, let me simplify it, let us say simultaneously, it's a mouthful to say that. Then the karma could be there, but karma is just kind of, what should I say, becomes impotent, right? It cannot produce a result, right? Just as in the case of arahats.
신지로고 로당 대화통도 이 시베 신원이 탐매가 코야주 이비실 그는 시바메베 다저발니 저와면주요 시바고세 셰야 영실레 셰야 되니레 시베 좀망도 송소 뭐다 뭐 데스 남제 시베 좀망도 송소 오마자와 레자 시메녀와 레메나 나 좋아지지 시민주 시에서 돈을 좋아라 다그시베 시바메는 녀와레메 민주와 대단히 좋아지지 시바고바를 좀 민주 셔버스 어디 되자메나 레카세나 콘지부 좋아요 마 좋아요 말아 시자 어디 다 시바 되자디나 레메나 레사바사 그 좁도도와 거의 개발도 되죠.
So this was said before that craving, as long as craving is there, there's going to be karma, right? And if there's no craving, even there is karma, the karma, Geshe didn't say it becomes important, but it cannot yield result just by itself, you know.
What is it? Me boshi sibeza dangzin la jiamene nemene beshi lan jian de chena ngonji de jede shakdu les samde nangme yang de ne nebe samse seba jurchani dagda zawate mama bampe 샤겔레시 뭐라 랩디게 해도 까마라 시리 레스 되다 직바심된 바라셔니 시라기 나버제와 샤데 되다 시베 나오죠 꾸드 몸에 상호 봉안죠 되다 마이나 무리제 나오 신도 땡에다 니모 봉아미죠 도달이 지게디 디데나 땡는지 곰세장 되는 다 디신식미시 되는 니모 실긴 rapchokde laje yene tenzin de gumshi she gore thangbo do chan sumba darwas o dese da karsa de dingen zi de yona la ya karsa ini sibadi this orda tosona la de ini nimu yona de ga to maris 치료가 나서서야지 땡이도 좀 신이 양바 용바 샤네 신이 양바 샤 짜드서 가가 지지 제지 신이 그 땡이들 라서 짜드 지지 잡셔 도는데 그 컨트롤 디 컨트롤이 괜찮으시 니소로 통으로서 그 제세도 저 그게 그래서 되자서야 되나 레디 매나 중요 말이죠 어디
So Geshe read bottom of the page 144 and page 145, and so he skipped some things. He did not explain everything, as you know. So don't think I'm not translating here. Protect myself. Just kidding. I don't care actually. So as Geshe explained that if we have craving. Craving cannot be uprooted or eliminated by even high level of samadhi or meditative absorption. The example given here is that of in non-Buddhist traditions, right? Also, there are practitioners, who achieve very high level of samadhi, shamatha, calm abiding, isn't it? They can deeply absorb into that. But that kind of samadhi, however powerful it is, it cannot uproot or get rid of the craving, So what happens is they're locked into that calm, abiding shamatha for a long time, right? They don't know what's happening with them. It's completely absorbed. And then when they come out of that state, then they realize that, for example, an example here is that the rats have kind of bit into your hair and your clothes and everything poked hole, and then they get mad, like, who did this to me, right? And then that anger precipitates rebirth in the bad migration, So the samadhi did not help you from going into the bad migration. So craving cannot be counteracted or cannot be uprooted by even high level of samadhi. So okay, shall I read from the top, page 146 up to the middle. So then the question arises is, if such a high level of concentration come about in shamatha, in which you can lock into for hours and days like that, it is of no use to counteract or uproot craving, then what solution is there? Antidote, right? And this is where it is stated here that we need to meditate on selflessness or emptiness, right? Realizing emptiness is the antidote to uproot afflictive emotions that would include craving, right? The root of samsara is called grasping at self, Tenzin in Tibetan, and we need to knock that out. So what can knock that out is not high level of concentration by itself, but it requires this realization of selflessness or emptiness. So that can liberate us, free us from that grasping at self, and free us from delusions and samsara.
Naba naso ta toma tishedi. Kongo boro malum ese. Jimbaso yungs to shaji siba ta shawu. She so de chujum sola ya de jawas. Kaje shaji siba parishiba chukaga lagna kazilana shera chwaji tonyi do shera de mina. In Sanje sa doto marta koya gyutri shishokoro. Tava tavi cha tava injimi damu do shera singulis. Ota dere cheda Timena, don't you ever hear me? Longa be longa because that one year of signal, Pangsha was what. Koyado, the Madro, Langado, the Tani, Yilsha, Geo, or said there is in the share of the year, anything not of it. When the service be the power to no zoo, the sheriff. Don't you ever hear us in Tava Tajivata Judo? Timaden Ziba Kazeta Kazishana again, Quaja Jibia, Tara Doto Amara. What is it?
So Geshe read from the bottom of page 146 and top of page 147. And so we said that realizing emptiness can help us to uproot the root cause of samsara, grasping at self, and that free us from all afflictive emotions, including craving, and then we can get out of samsara. Now, realizing emptiness is not something essential only for liberation from samsara, but it's also essential for Buddhahood or enlightenment, right? You want to become Buddha for the sake of everybody there. So continuing that theme or highlighting that theme, so there is a citation on page 147, as Geshe explained, that in Bodhisattva path and practices, we often talk about 6 perfections or 6 parameters, right? Perfection of generosity, dhan paramita, to the jnana paramita, perfection of wisdom, you know. And of these 6 perfections, the perfection of wisdom gone beyond, right? The jnana paramita is a primary. Hypothetically speaking, let's say, if we don't practice the perfection of wisdom, we practice all other perfections, let's say generosity. Yes, we accumulate a lot of merit, no doubt, but all of that becomes causes to be in samsara, not get out of samsara, you know. So the liberating kind of a perfection, if we can call that, is the wisdom gone beyond, you know. And so having that wisdom is gaining an eyesight. The example Geshe will give is that if we are blind, then we are kind of dropped in the middle of the town. We don't know, you know, where to go, right? We can't see. Whereas if you have an eyesight, then you know which direction to go. So that wisdom gone beyond, the perfection of wisdom is that important, right? With that, so now all other perfections, you know, that help us to be able to achieve complete enlightenment.
What is it? Tomba the number Hindu, Tony Giton, so other. Say the Goma near then to Shembusha with the thing the Javolis, thing the Udol. Concussion, Tomba Kumshiba. Teda was a short on no doubt in ye. You make you go that young. Semi Pie. Both the Jember head. Young Jewish then rub the gum. They were among short to you. Learn the year the young, so do so much. You magic. The moment they gave a long time. Doden de la Kegi, my Lord, just said, Ludo saw that Rapon don't buy Hindi, she was come, he don't gombe, some jails zoatum. Tomara, he gave out, don't you gombe. Some gave an Juju Nanja, you saw the David, don't you gomba. 동이 전에 고마 고고마 송스 루트브 제정 다음에 전부 상제당 전대군지 대군지 동배 가서 송발 제 대전 대시 처는 군지시 시기마다 송바 심해시바 지시비 동이 되는 다두고 셰다 석설리 셰랍제남지 소장 용서당지 티코니 자우디 장주스바 다두무 좀 된데마 셰다 저와 셰노 셰당 람존레 롱다릭베 레바타니 chen tamshi kimebe ranshi meba yeshe ne number tomi gomba ta tere tini gomshi na rabka la so toba njuru sanji shanju yumirin shiso tar tawa da tamji kemba toni nyo deva nanji te kone yo gomba shagu so osi ote da kanji 타바 타고 그냥자 거기 거에 두면 아니 상지에다 가르치면 가르치고 나한테 돈이 공부 돈이 먹고 나한테 타바 타야다 상지야 요 말이 있어 어디 나가서다.
So Geshe read from the middle of the page 147 downwards and page 148 until the section 1 there. And so there are a lot of citations there by Arya Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti's clear word commentary, and what is it? Adisha's Lemba Path, Enlightenment, Bodhisattva Pratibham. So all of this to substantiate the contention or the claim that emptiness realization is essential. Whether you want to be free from samsara, that's your goal, or whether you want to be enlightened being, Buddha, right? Whichever goals you choose, it doesn't matter. Realization of emptiness is essential. Okay.
What is it? Six lege here. Nanje soja daja yons dangde. Tikonen yezo jo with. 城市是我大的我，现在的我现在做写的，兰州的龙的日本他个，全他们去见面的，让西面的年轻人，那么多的工作差，现在挺有贡献的，让干了说做本就是上级想去有名人，写作，但是他把他。 tamji kemba kong tong di nyewa dewa namji. Di kona yi gomba di kona yi gomba sha gosos. O di da tongi gonya de taba tam tona tongi gongori, tamji sheba tona tongi gongori. So di tongi magomba le taba toga yo maris. O di su da nidin rosin tongi gongoris.
Di shu sakin. Di shu wikidagi.
La.
Di shu sakin. Di lab sakin. Di jur sa.
Nas. O di su di koran do jani shung mo su dongora wa di she su wa da khaje. She da de mira do. Toni gosan di en sanje sha yu me rin si di da en sanje go mo de jo to sa shi wa.
Lo.
Di koran go sanje sha yu me rin si. yu me rin si da. Sanje wa da ta ring ba khai ma ri si wa. Toni go na. Jo le ri la.
No.
So
So as you can see in the clear word commentary, there is example given of ever-crying Bodhisattva. One should not translate the name, but then we keep on doing it. In Sanskrit called Sadaparudita, and my patience teacher went. Sadaparudita, went through a lot of trials and tribulations in search of his teacher, Dharmodgata, right, to be able to hear about emptiness, right? So emptiness is essential, as we said, to achieve nirvana or enlightenment. And so in the Lamma path also, the message is that if you realize emptiness, then Buddhahood is not too far away. In other words, you can come closer to Buddhahood there. And realizing emptiness, then you will be able to achieve, for example, the first, of the 10 spiritual ground is called joyous ground. Here they call it manifest joy, or what did they say here? Manifest joy, yeah. So you will be able to achieve that, right? Without realizing emptiness, you cannot achieve the first ground. Bodhisattva is called joyful ground.
This is because Yumushisha Deva is a Hezo Soms. The Dimigi is Naya Timu Shiva Soms. Divani hit of University that Rosabasu Shataka, that other day you look here in Silver. Go by Casa Yumushisha did you make Namsha Tumu member Shiva Soms. Did you joke juice? Did you read Charis? That Ronju measured the Dinzi Hira joke juice. Jimila said, Sosu Muzi, Jinsos Nudas the Cardi Hira the Cardi Muzi. Jimmy Lam County set up on to say, and Jimmy the Kadu Bongo is secret. Or such a sorry, Tabone Dandini is a junior count in Jobala. Tira Mintate Rojiba Kansa Dazi, Nunja the Shay that he did in Shela. Take you on the Dazi Nika Nunja the Jogo. There Shay Dazi Nunja the Job in Nejam. Gashe da Nila Chara Meva Tea. Take up a Dami Nila Yang Chara Meva Tea. Dangdi Nila Yang Chara Gichever Windu Bay. Kansa Dazi Nunja Yambashi, Shay Dazi Nunja Yigo Shadow. They are Pumbo de Mazebe Shay Dazi, Tico Najushi in the Numaji Marik Bay Imishel Pumbo. They made the Toby, everybody get them with the show. Immediately, be here troubles. What did it? Kaja Roger may take Kansa does the Kansa Raja was Nunda Modishita Shamara. Sure, it does the Tita Shamara. That they tell you the Shita. And Pajamas doesn't hit a shamari. Sure, the Kazak doesn't yiga, can you drip? Or did that two moments of Joseph? Roger measured the Gangali, sure, does the hit of Shavara. Or that thing you would show you than in your had. Or the two moments.
So Geshe read from the bottom page 148, a little bit on top of page 149. So now we are moving into a different section here, and so that has to do with differentiating between the two types of mental obscuration, right? We have what we call delusive obscuration or afflictive obscuration, kleshya. And then we have the cognitive obscuration we call shedip in Tibetan, right? And so different schools have maybe look at differently. So this is where we will be dealing with the matter here. Here the three points that we will discuss preview. Number one is that how the apprehension of true existence, meaning grasping at true existence, is presented as an afflictive obscuration, kleshya, delusion. Number two, how do we identify what is afflictive obscuration and what is cognitive obscuration? And then number 3, what paths can help us to get rid of the 2 obscurations. So that's the preview of the points that we will deal with. So the first point first. So as Geshe explained, that Prasangika's high schools of Buddhist thought, their unique position is that grasping at true existence self, or grasping at true existence, whether that is grasping at the true existence of self of a person or self of phenomena, doesn't matter. It is afflictive obscuration. It's a delusion, right? That's their standpoint. But other Buddhist schools of thought in the middle way school, the other school is called Savatandika Madhyamika school. For them, it's different. They say that grasping at self-sufficient and substantially existent self of a person, right? Rangya Tubejaya in Tibetan, that is an afflictive obscuration, whereas grasping at the self of phenomena is a cognitive obscuration, right? So they make that distinction, isn't it? Right? I'll repeat it one more time. Grasping at the self-sufficient and substantially existent self of a person is a delusion, afflictive obscuration, whereas grasping at the self of phenomena is cognitive obscuration. Okay, but Prasangika said no, it doesn't matter, right? Both forms of graspings, they both are afflictive obscuration or delusions. Then you ask Prasangika, so what is an example of cognitive obscuration? They would say, the imprints, the predispositions, or the latencies, we call it pakcha, of the grasping. So that is cognitive obscuration for Prasangikas.
Jigda Nimuji Marigba Hedo. Dirne, Deme Dobe, Riba Higi Midu Show till Dela. Tia Nimber Cheve, Riba Idika Zamdan. Tele Yamada Missigi. Rigba the Zindango with Hube. Kanza that Kanza Che Dema Debe Dinzi Tini. Nimuji Marigba George Tusum Yanse Demujan Terry Chay Dangzijan, Nimuji Marigba troubles. Without the Roger Mujay Shay Dangzi, the heater is your that they tell you Shay Dangzi Yondra is. Consi heater in Shiva Mai Chasu, Pajama Dangzi, the Dinzi Sakari in the Ganga, and Yondra is. Or that because the sugar, sheet of carriers, take a pajama, sonji of telly, or tell a heat of cigarettes. Says this or that concept. Pena Karza mid Subotan was not doing. Could not Joe Shu said, says I didn't make and caught Naza Yunzo Chawina. Naza Yunzo Chas and Naza in the Koya Subot to the top of the Nomana Ijaya Marwa. Kokambo Sidusa Joe Shu Sarava. Or this or do no Naza shook. You want to tell or tell a hit of sort of tell Shawada. No man you move the Mamu D-Day, duty, Madibu, Jong Shai Hadi or what he does like her hit of serum, the hit of said Shiva Shamar.
Tinjubo again.
Tinju.
So Geshe reads from the middle section of page 149 there, but I don't think he explained that yet. As Geshe explained, okay, let me repeat one time. Within the Buddhist schools of thought, tenets we call Siddhant in Sanskrit, that Sevatandika Madhyamika school, that sub-school of the middle way, and down below, right, for them, grasping at self of phenomena is cognitive obscuration or shade. Okay? Grasping at self-sufficient and substantially existent self of a person is afflictive obscuration or nuantive, right? Whereas Prasangika says it doesn't matter, right? Whether you are grasping at the self of a person or grasping at the self of phenomena, both are nuantive or afflictive obscurations. And for them, an example of cognitive obscuration shittive is, as we said, the paksa, imprints, predispositions, latencies, or the impact of the delusions, you know. And so if it is an impact or the imprints of delusions, they are not what called perceptual. You know, it must not be a perception at all, right? If it's an imprint. So what is imprint? So example Geshe gives of is that that you are very healthy, and then for some reason, you know, you become sick, and then you go to take the treatment, you get well, right? Looks like you are well, but still you don't have the same kind of a health status or energy level, isn't it? You kind of still there's something, right, impact on your health that you're not as right strong as you used to be before. Are you with me? So why you're not as strong as you were before? Because of that sickness impact, isn't it? So in that way, Prasangika says that we have so much habituation with afflictive emotions, right? Long time. So, you know, even if you're free of those delusions, but the impact is there, you know, that imprint is still there, you know, that's kind of nagging, right? So that is a cognitive obscuration.
Lendeta take on the moment Maru Mombe, Simu Mariba, Deji, tell Jita Soso de la She Chabaso, Osen Jilo Gashiki, Kaza Rajate, the Zembe, Jigda, New Jay Mariba, Shedo. Then the Dime Dobes, Rigba Higi Medisho, $10. There Nimbo Jibe, Rigba Kazunda, Tele Hemata Mishi, Rigba Zendangos and Gay, Kazat, sure the Banzebe, the emoji Mariba, George, to some nonsense, Democrat, was it that tell you, show Dangzil Shagdua, Tozo, Nimotos, Mariba, the Hagris. Teach Shay Dangzin Jang, Yumuji Mariba, Trouble said that, and show you that Yumuji, Roju Mejete, Roju Mejes and Roju Bada. Then the sense of the Shay Dangzi Decare, hit is your
Yumuja Maimbe,
La,
that is Yumuja Maimbe,
Yumuja Maimba, hit is your. That tell you that Yumuja Mariba is that.
So that explanation a little bit on that middle section on page 149 is this, that for Prasangika Madhyamikans, whether it is grasping at the self of a person or grasping at the self of phenomena, they both are afflictive obscuration, isn't it? And an example of cognitive obscuration is just their imprints, right? And the imprints cannot be a perception, that's what's said. Whereas Sevatandika Madhyamikan, the other sub-school of the middle way, and the Chittamatans, the mind-only school, right? For them, grasping at the self of phenomena, right, is cognitive obscuration, but that's what they called Nyomonche Maimbe Mariba. It is an ignorance that is not a delusion, right? I mean, it's very hard to translate English, right? Whereas for Prasangikas, both graspings are what we call ignorance that is a delusion, right? So we split the ignorance into two. A delusional ignorance, okay, I hope that works, if not I have to change somewhere. Then non-delusional ignorance, right? Because I want a shorter one rather than I repeat the whole sentence. So the Prasangika said that both grasping are delusional ignorance, isn't it? Whereas Savatthanga Madhyamika says that grasping at the self of a person is a delusional ignorance, but grasping at the self of phenomena is non-delusional ignorance. Okay. Oh, it's working right now, so let's keep it there. Yeah.
What is it? That because Marubas, Yimoji Marubas, Maruba Jordan, Chita Nisha.
No.
That they tell you Lola, there is a concept. My exam with the Kaja said, Mosha, tell you Lola, because Yimoji, Miami Marubas said, the Shiva Shagamari singing shit. Until I Shiva Shaju or the Jix, do that they just. Yimoji Marubas, the Shiva Meva Shagoda.
No, so Paja, the one was.
Oh, Paja, so it was Shiva Shagamari.
So Geshe says, if you look at the textbook authors of different monastic universities, they may have different perspectives on the same issue, isn't it? Some textbook authors will say that even in Prasangika's case, the cognitive obscuration, right? They say it could be a perception, right? Whereas here it says it could not be a perception, isn't it? So among the textbook authors of the monastic universities, so they have scholars, right, with different viewpoints on that.
Do you mean mind? When you say perception, do you mean mind?
Sheba Mayimba. Well, the Tibetan word Sheba Mayimba is Sheba Mayimba is to call the Sheba the Shawan. Same mind word. Same mind word.
Never do you know your mother. Go, Shagamari.
That can say mixture was my score.
No, my Hibakora make Migida, Hibakora Mice.
I could get Lord Jin to go much score.
Say you mice.
Yeah, so I think a perception, but it cannot cognize or apprehend anything. Perception. Yeah. So it can be mind, yeah. Mind or perception, I would say, it does not perceive anything.
When you say perception, you mean mind?
Yes. By perception, yes, yeah. Anyway, Tibetan word Sheba. Sometimes we translate as consciousness, sometimes mind, sometimes, right?
Or the Ronju measure the Shui does in Hiba Shadoa, because the Hidal Hiba Shadoa, the Tenjo Shui that Hidal Hiba Shagmaris.
No, sure. Yeah, we look at the Savatthanga Madhyamika and Chittamatrins because they said that grasping at the self of phenomena is cognitive obscuration, but that is right mind or right cognition. Whereas for Prasanga, it's the imprint, so it cannot be cognition. Maybe that's the good word, yeah.
Oh, this is that you don't Maribasi to the linear move Maribata, Tikona Maribasi, Nishagua.
No, so.
Linear move Maribasi, getting along the Roboti. No, linear move Masigua.
No.
Tikona Maribasi, Dangzidera.
No.
Ready, Tatu did that. Tikona the moment Maribasi, I did it, Marib demand of the.
No, so.
That the name of Maribati Kuyana called them Geshe.
No. So also when we talk about marikpa, that which does not see, or ignorance, we sometimes classify it in ignorance pertaining to law of karma and actions, right? Results, and then ignorance pertaining to the ontological, status of phenomena, right? Reality. So of these two types of ignorance, of course, the main ignorance, if you can put that way, is the ignorance pertaining to the reality or the ontological status of phenomena, because that other ignorance dealing with the law of karma and result is dependent on this first ignorance. Okay? Yeah.
What did it cause up? The Maribas, or this Maribas, the Karika, the Maribas is the Korona Mahiba Tang Marco Dozo. Call the young Zindong, you get us in Dozo, Marido teacher. Or the tell you here that Kaza, the Shiba, the Shiba to be hidden base,
No.
시럽 가가 시바치 디바스 가가 뇽저 레로 거와
No.
어디 뇽저 레스부터
No.
텐조 두모 많이 버리 시 런지오 베지 가게 셈자바스 가가 시바 시럽 셔거와
And so the ignorance pertaining to reality that we are talking about here is not ignorance in the sense of you're not seeing it or right that, but it is a distorted perception, because it's seeing the reality in a distorted fashion. It's not like you're just not seeing it, but that's ignorance too. But it's seeing it completely opposite, right? So that's why we talk about how the gnosis, translated here, or the wisdom, I would say, it can see how the things exist as it is. Then you can poke through that distortion because you see it differently, right? That's how we talk about it,
okay?
So we will stop there today, and we welcome questions. First, we'll go to our Dharma friends on space, and then we come back. We don't have it. Okay. Then it is ours. We have a lot of new friends here, so not that I'm pressuring you. If you have any questions, we will give you a chance first, and then we'll come back to others. Questions about today's subject or anything to do with Dharma. Okay. A translator speaking, not the Geshe. Anybody has any questions? Yeah.
So you were I thought projections.
Yes.
Might be a good word for that, right?
Yes.
So the self is projected, and phenomena is a projection.
Yes. Yeah, we have. Yes.
They're all projections. They
Yep.
have no self-existence.
Yeah, the Tibetan word is chota, right? It's projection of fabrication. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Alors when you do something, that was Tenzin, c'est Tenzin chota go yorwage. Chota say del tonda inji six laws one del pebetsig yorwe so the was chota la go la imbage. Ngwe ni lo ya yimba chela member da mai be yimba ko chota go yorwage. The was six yorwage chota la go wa. Now, I just clarified the issue. Okay, so we have here, please start off, anybody? Yeah.
I have a question about the story of Sada Prarudita. It always puzzled me. Why did he go looking for a human teacher when he's known to have achieved the concentration of the Dharma continuum, right, in the great level, the path of accumulation?
Okay.
So that means that he, and that's what it says in the sutra, that he was able to receive teachings directly from thousands of Buddhas.
Okay.
What is the point of going?
Sure.
And why hasn't he realized emptiness by that point? That's
Sure.
another curious.
Quran condition that there is chanju samba ta du mu ro wa ge. Lo ben cheba za ga chin ro wa ge. Shira ji paru chim ten cha ga da ga je mi gi ten jin gi ge gen cha ga ro wa za ge. Quran cheba de dire Quran zu shung na le shebe in ane chanju samba ta du mu de chu jun gi ting jin to ba kan sa re sha ro wa ge. Chu jun ting za ba kan sa ne ko do ko yo ma sang je ka za ga ne so nan ko sen di ko ro wa ge. Ji de an chu jun ting za ba kan sa yin ba ina yin ji mi ji mi ten jin ge gen ji cha ga gang ge de ne mong ko 가르 잡으래서 가와 도샤래서
Tidi show you things that on the good on the share, Modi, the other mill day, me go there on a shower.
but again two things in so the tesa de and chu sung da kam 고구려 말 버게 상제 가서 가네
Modi got there, till ya rembo momoyada,
알레
Bagzi, the Tilly share, the Lord Gyeltsen share, young Tung share, we got a jibachiwa.
알로롱스 아니 로벤데 제가 가와페로다 사자리스 같은 문제 여러 개
La,
로벤 쳐봐 가발 제대로
so choose us as the Gawan is big bad. You don't know, you get it, basically. Saja Kawa, the Saturday message of a dog.
So Geshe says that what we call that dharani or the concentration of Dharma continuum, it has a different levels, Some can hear the teaching within like 100 yojanas, sometimes 1,000, right, depending upon that. So we don't know which kind he had, right? So that's why maybe the teacher, his karmic teacher, is farther away. that his Dharani couldn't, right, sit here and read the teaching. So he went in search of his karmically related teacher, Dharmodgata. Now, where he met it, Geshe doesn't recall. Maybe if you look in the 8,000 Pranjana Paramita Sutra, I don't know whether it's mentioned there or not.
Was not why did he have to go searching for him physically, but why did he even go searching, since he could receive teachings directly from a Buddha? That's what it says in the sutra. In fact, they don't say what level of concentration he achieved. He could receive teachings directly from a Buddha,
Right.
from thousands Buddhas. Any Buddha he can.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well,
what is the point of even looking for it?
Right.
Isn't that the whole point of achieving that concentration? So you develop some kind of self-sufficiency.
Okay. Al-Quran this is Quran so that ton the beje nang la di la sa ro chonju samba ta dong wo de ge chujing ge ting ge tom ne sang ye ja ne be chu sen tu ge slab de wa ge dine yin be ne sang ye ne chu ka du nye de ge ye ne de ne mi tin je ge gen je che ga la khar chen ro re so ro ge ro kwa ye me de wa sang ye ne chu de ma shu shen de ge ro wa ge then mi tin je ge gen je che ga ro go yo ma re so ge ma di ka ri na so da pa na kim je lu ki
뭐 다들 상계 세화대에서 뭐도 미대지스는 강사 배워 가요. 미대지 상계 미대지라 아니.
ale ada me de ge se ma de da ma kwan se ge gen je da mi su gen ge gen che ga ro de ma ro ko ma sa je de sang ye ja ne chu shu tu go ro so sang ye ne te ga chu shu tu go yo na ani ge gen je che ga ro go yo ma re di ka ri na so
알레 데디고 상계 가자 똑바로 야서 또 통해 뭐 여러. 데디 뭐 강가배 지가 가자 갈배 상계는 강가 대지 해도 뭐 로로 정저보다 박스 유기기와 수수로에 네가 실로 현도 나줘요 뭐지 또또부터 제천에 강가배 남제주의자는 이래야 뭐
di lam na de ga no quran ge ge da cheba de timo ma be lende yu jog chi ro wa ge ko lende di ke ba de la shin dig me da ro wa sang ye da ma de yo sha de so so lende me
그 치바 렌데 여러 되시나 그 그런 여대 세모에는 상계 때문에 거 가야 말아. 그 맛이 뭐 해야 되거라.
ma se ma da ge sang ye de mo ko so mo ko sang ye ne te ga chu shu tu go yo ro wa sa chu chu ding ge jing de go ma de so ma da ten ni
근데
shu
상계 치와 그거 제가 휴거다.
la
상계 치와서 다들 치와돼서 상계 치와서 돼서다.
ane da di je ga ba pe do pe go ma ro ko den des khadu ko na sang ye cheba ga wa shu de ne di su nian de ne di go ro so ge
뭐 데데 다그 나줘요. 박스 타링도 그 박스 자 동업하더니 다 터그랬어야 뭐도서 자주 나고 이제서 이제 뭐지배 타링 뭐 해를 강가 태면 얘가 요 말아.
la ro di ko ske ma de
거기 저지어라.
응.
아주 주제지 땡겐지 토자와이나 아니 꼴라당 뜻나는야 마송 추슈도 그러와. 아니 상지 가리 있는 그런 대사들 다라 상지 마부자니 아니 추슈도와 되시에도 그런 도와드리셔게.
아.
아주 주제지 땡겐지 토자로 하게.
응.
주제지 땡겐지 토자와이나 다만서 나주 꼴라서 됐잖아요. 추슈와이나 상지 뭐 슈와도 지부지장 슈도 그래서야도 당도 여러 하게.
응.
아니 그런 가요한테 아니 상지 있잖아. 그 추슈도 그래서야죠. 손으로
응.
아니 그런 바다 그래서 주바대야 제도 깔리는지 않는 바 주바자가 파송 주슈와도 놓아서 그런 가쇼되어 있는 대나라 아니 상지자는 추슈도 놓아서 띵인 게 말을 해야 되지.
되는 겨치야 뭐다. 가게 라마 수수 군이 휴대가 가게 다른 뭐지 신거라. 대수수 내 저다 저기 상계 디스코스 시켜디고 휴교가 되지마 가요 말아.
I don't know. Okay, now I think that might answer it, right? After, I think it's interesting. Maybe it's the direction. Because Geshe said the same thing I said, then he heard. But maybe both. If Geshe talked that way, I don't hear him. He face me, then I hear him. Maybe the same thing. Right? I said the same thing. So Geshe said, there is. Let's say yes. I mean, he has that we call dharani, or the ability to be able to hear teachings from hundreds of Buddhas, even for the sages. But there's another thing is among Buddhas, we said one you have a karmic connection with. So Dharmodgata is actually a Buddha, right? And so that's why, right, he went in search of him, right? That karmic connection, yeah. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, Renee. Yes.
when the arahats have indefinite karma, are they aware that they have it? And do they have the opportunity ever to make a choice to come and clean the slate by working it off, by having another life?
Okay, so I heard part of it. Okay, double check with me, right? So we said an arhat could have karmic leftover. Are they aware of this karmic leftover? Right, that's what I heard. What's the second one?
And then can they choose to take a rebirth or several rebirths to clean the slate, so to speak? Sure. And thank you for your teaching, Geshe.
Alekin sungjo number cutting churches, a moran tiwa dirisha, that again this sungwa and a tajube chulaya legi and langma yune roage, seba meza ko lady mia yomarwage. Said the Tachoma Koran so lel hama yuva the hakugu yorwe sakarwa. Tachoma to get the social lel hama yuva the hakugu yorwe. And in the net 1 year the Tachoma de get the social kiawaliagi. Rawa yorwe sakawachiki mean roage. Rawa yorwe so kiawa kawaduine. The lake dig Langma to get the Patsama so where Yaman again. Well, number one, yes, they are aware of the karmic remnants or the leftover karma, plainly speaking. And yes, they have the ability to take birth wherever they think they can benefit. And I don't think you asked that question, but I added it, just I want to know. I said, do they need to clean up the leftover karma? He said, yeah, it doesn't need, because it's not doing anything, you know. So they don't need to clean up the remnant karma. Right.
Thank you.
Because there's nobody home.
Huh?
Because there's nobody home.
Right. Right. There is nobody right. Huh?
Nobody's home.
Right. You mean nobody's home in the sense?
There's no self, no grasping.
Oh, no grasping self. I that. So again, Tenzin as a teacher, well, what I lay hammer the parts, some of the Nanjin Shire Wage. Did the skin. Then a little hangma digging that would do jam as a chudo check Yomar in a cheddar. The Chemoya, the chick to Magic Rogan, but Manzo Manzola Nanzi Yorogan, Tajomal at Ging, the session number Tajomalia Nalagi, Zimba Yomar get Kalotangazo. Tanya Bang Zimba the Yoromar get.
Did you? Not dogs and not dogs. Did you?
Yeah, so Geshe says, yeah, of course, they are free of that grasping. That's true. In that sense, there's no home there. But at the same time, that they have this conventional sense of I, that I'm here, I'm going somewhere. That sense of I is there. Yeah.
There's one online question.
Yeah, sure.
Is gnosis only experienced in a meditative state? What Tibetan word is translated as gnosis?
Yeah. Then again, this year, Rovada, because of Geshe says, Rovage. Don't you do a Geshe so much again? Yadmo Yesha says, Geshe said the Nyamson Yong when I enjoy me be com cabne Rovage. Kiaquach, the member told the Geshe, the Tamanton de Geshe and Geshe Shire or career.
I go
Gom Jan that would give Waj Rovage, Geshe said the Rovage. In a coaching top son of Gomquas came at the you. Yeah, so the translation in this book is called Gnosis. We call Geshe or wisdom, sometimes like exalted wisdom, all those words just to differentiate. Of course, initially we have to, study and meditate and cultivate that, right? Once you have it, the Gnosis or that wisdom, the Tibetans call it Geshe, not Yishe. So then, you don't have to be in a meditative state, right? But to be able to have it in the beginning, yes, we have to do meditation because it doesn't come by itself. Yeah, it won't come spontaneous. Yes, through That's right. Then spontaneous. Once you have it, yes.
Well, here it says it's gnosis awareness.
Okay.
Awareness. Parenthesis, Rigpa Yesh.
Or Rigpa Yeshe. Okay, Rigpa Yeshe said this is Chono Naske.
Rigpa 이게 해야 돼. 그래서 동요도 불러줘. 다 거는 되고 rigpa 이게 세나.
저도 간디 당보다 곰잔 맛이 용하시요 말와게.
라 rigpa
당보 쌤 곰잔네 소야 마다 딘데 용하요 말와게.
아니 곰잔이 게 곰잔을 해야 지.
곰잔네 계산나 되네 고야 곰마잔네 고 요소 말와게.
뭐
Rigpa Yeshe.
제게서는 야코 영세 곰이 야리 동야다 자세 동하면 그 더 찍도 없어 내가 자기는 꼭 영사 대식을 팬도요 뭐.
Yeah, so thank you. On page 149, it says gnosis awareness, or the Tibetan word is Rigpa Yeshe, cognitive wisdom or right awareness, how you want to translate it. So Geshe said, of course, here we're talking about that gnosis pertaining to reality, emptiness, and of course that has to come through study and meditation, right, to cultivate it. And then once you really have it, right, again, you still need to do meditation to enhance it, right? If you don't do it, yes, you have it, then it just stays at the same level. It doesn't, right, increase or go further. So you still need to do meditation to, cultivate it. Yes? Oh, it's no.
You for Geshe priestess teaching. My question is, Geshe, according to Geshe teaching, he talked about three kinds of graving. So in case of 12 dependent link,
Yes.
is
Is the number
graving, number 8. Graving is one of them or all of them.
8? Sure.
That's the first question.
Yeah.
Second question is, without in 12 dependent link,
Right.
without graving,
Yeah.
other 11 link cannot activate, isn't it?
Okay. Sure.
Thank you, Geshe.
True question. Yes. Precondition de dirisha that 먼저 되게 세배 거시기 여러 와게.
라
세바 거 셰버 와게. 세바 될야 만다 숨샤소마게. 되세 시세 직세 셰러 와게. 단단 먼저 텐데 야라 중에 남기게 개바 세바러 와게. 개바 세바 세겐디 디 숨자 레디오레 강론제 레디오레.
예바 세바세야 되레세. 그 예바 세바 그걸 레바세야 되니 뭐데 니모레도 니모.
ina di seba di jiksere te sisere karsa gen di desere kareda
라
yeba seba di
예바 세바
sumjare kangrunjire seba sum
라
seba de seba sumge nan kangrunjire sumjare ge
뭐 지시 다티 나서 이제 돼.如果 거래 시바 도샤 거래 찍는 계산으로 저 고소도 샤네 나서 이제 와.
sumja yesho gujiro ge
요쇼 이제.
ine koran sumja yimbe chaba yo marwa ge
그 순간 인도 세도가 말와.
nons dice ane tiwa niba de rwa ge kesi yeba seba de meba inas rwa ge en tende yela chungyi shamba de kanga lo niba meba charugo marwe so ge
레레. 예바 세바세야 그 레디야 주께 쇼셔분에 가서로.
no yes so the first answer is that Geshe said in the 12 links of interdependent origination, I think now, thanks for the opportunity. Last time I said number 10, that's my footnote anyway. I looked at it's number 8, right? Number 8, and so it could be either of the three, Geshe said. You know, it could be depending upon thing. And now the second answer, the second question is that if that craving is not there, then yes, other links become non-functional, right? They cannot operate. Yes. Number 8.
Image for number 8?
Yeah, I checked it. There's, I think, guy drinking, you know.
Consumption.
Yeah, craving, yeah, consumption. I think he's having a fun time there.
Could be eating food also, right?
Yes, it could be eating food too. Yes, that's true. Yes. In that Thanga depiction we are looking at, right? Yes. Last time we checked.
About this craving, actually, did you have a second question? I think.
No,
maybe
she
he
already
did.
asked, yeah. She asked both
Oh,
questions.
both of them.
Yeah.
The craving, Geshe could be said it could be any one of the
Yeah.
three.
Yeah.
But here it says that first of all, existential craving. He said it. The second type is only craving in the desire in the form and form realm, formless realm. And the 12 links apply only to desire realm, not the form and formless realm.
Okay.
That's number one. And number two is, so the existential craving could not be there according to Geshe's definition. And second, the craving for, how do you call it, desirous craving. Probably also not, because at the time of death, you know, you have the end of life agony. So it's a negative feeling. So the only craving that seems to be present would be craving for fearful or craving for annihilation.
Okay. Did you say that the what's called the 12 links are not in the
No,
upper
no,
realm,
no,
higher realm or something?
no.
Did I
They
hear that?
apply. Yes, that's
Okay,
what I
that's
said.
good.
They
Yeah,
apply
yeah.
only
Okay.
to desire realm.
Desire, yeah, sure. Kurang di Geshe naro nasu Geshe tanda tenden yela junyin nang ge seba de rawage ta ge seba sum seba nang kaunu yi chogo ina rawage Kurang samde kangla tenda yela junyin di karso gore de kamla rawage doba kamal ma so kam komal sha yo marwas gorge
라
tenden yela junyin di kam komal sha yo marwas doba kamal ma do rawage
데리 아직 강가샤요.
kam komal sha yo be
요려.
akwe yo marel
기본 강고마 자래 거라 아니
yo marwas that the to the say roage nieba de kora samala sumja khande ina pena nganzo pena mishidu galya ane 직다 동에 차고 정년에 시베 ina roage 그래서나 단다 되세 제 roage 되세의 용셔에 민도사로와 다 가르쳐봐 준 거예요나 직세의 용서를 뭐도 되세의 용서에서 말해서 그 동에 배나네라 알아도 우르되려 roage 되네 이나
지시세네 시시세네 가래.
되세
되세세 되베사 되세오다.
나
되베사 되세오다. 되베사 되요 되시시.
알레 그
강고기사 되요 되 시시시.
알렌디 간들이 나자 먹어 가려는 거 용초고 roage
다 용서월 다 니모르와 시비시사데 니모르 용서월.
단다지 단당 가지 개발 렘바디 가르스메 되자나니까 레 미로치들에서 되데 마디데 시바로와
라
로와 근데 세바디 양조 데세션 등아도 세바데 시바니 가가로
시바사데 레 시바스
어디로와
라
어디 세바세디
다
되자고
시바스 정보 용게서 니모르스다.
알레 근데 그래서 직세다 시세니데 감 고말 마신 되감을 샤기요 말와
저도 이제
요초 아니가 요초로
이제서
알레 알디
다
감
지시세데 지시 요소죠.
감 고말 되세요 말로 다 되세요 요청 말 감 고말 매바데 되세요 말와
되세요 말다 되세서 되베사 되세요.
I think what Geshe says is, first, she said the 12 links also apply to the higher realms of existence, right? Because anybody, you have to take rebirth, right, that goes through that cycle. Then, not anybody, I said, the rebirth. The second one is, when we talk about desirous craving, right, the technical term says, but we are talking about a delusion that is categorized as part of the desired realm of existence. Right? Even in the case of agony, whatever system, right? It's possible it could be there, the desirous, what we call desirous craving, but in the higher realms of existence, the fearful craving and the existential craving is there, but not the desirous craving in the higher realms of existence. Hopefully. Yeah. Right.
Here, fearful craving is the craving to get gotten rid of negative feeling.
To be separated from
separated. Obviously, they don't have it in the form and formless realm.
Right.
Desirous craving is specifically described as grasping at pleasurable objects.
Right.
So it's not, again, it's not to be gotten rid of negative feelings.
That's right.
So it's very specific.
Right.
Yeah, and furthermore. Ignorance, the ignorance in the first, that's the first link of the 12 links,
Yes.
doesn't exist in the form and form. They don't have that kind of ignorance. Just like Aryas don't have that. It's this kind of, their ignorance is not sufficient to start the whole chain of 12 links.
Okay. Quran some this go tanda tende yela junyin nagi tangbu mari ba di sugam la yo marwa sugge.
라
tende yela junyin de chebe mari ba che orwa ge di sugam la yo marwa sa ko.
라
sugam la yo marwa sa.
소금 요려
yo de mari ba.
요려
Ale.
소금 내사 요러 과지.
Geshe said the the dependent link of ignorance, the first one, it exists in the form realm of existence. Yeah.
Ignorance exists, but the dependent link of ignorance.
That's what I said, dependent link of ignorance. Then yala chungin nangi mari badi orla.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. So.
Even the gods don't want to pass away.
그걸 내서 연락이 이상하고 그래.
Allowance. Yeah, because in order to accumulate the karma, right, that's the starting point. It has to be there, you know.
They don't accumulate. That's the whole point. They don't accumulate negative karma. The form and formless. They do not. How could they accumulate negative karma there?
With the ignorance.
But they don't act. They have ignorance. Even if they have that ignorance, they don't act. Let's say, take the formless one.
Oh, I see.
Which one?
All in the formless, right?
But the same with the form.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you. Okay, we will continue this next week. I think I'm going to yield to Geshe Laramba for prayer request. Before Geshe speak, I might forget. This is my request. Adding to that, I think there was a huge tragedy in Hong Kong. I don't know, like 6 or 7 skyscrapers all got burned. I don't know what happened. That's a huge. And then there was a big earthquake in Myanmar, Burma, huge one, and it also affected Thailand. I don't know how many people died there yet, but so please think about them. And when we do prayers for both the living and deceased, so think about them as well. Now I yield to Geshe.
Tungni chamju shungye la ya tsele deba bui ti zung sarwa chuzo giru kungi ama dinda khaji kon changwarwa kongi chede mutunde tungme naro nas dine tsele deba butter cup sarwa ki shirish ki ken wochi ni dinda nis kon changshan kongi chede tungme naro nas dine tsedan demba tanda dagi shona shi kungi ngoshimba resha wangmo ani neba resha nishi sunda yona shi tungme ta dagana shi marine vusa yan neba resha kona nigi chedo nishi sunda yona shi tungme na nas. Prayer requests today include prayers for among those who have recently passed are requested for Bui Thi Dung, who recently passed away at the age of 100, and then prayers also for Buttercup, a dog who passed away at the age of 13 a couple of weeks ago. So please keep Buttercup and Bui Thi Dung in your prayers and dedications. May they and all of those who have recently passed be free of all suffering and purified of all negative karma accumulated since beginningless times. May they be reborn with all precious freedoms and endowments. May they meet the Dharma and a qualified guru and quickly achieve liberation and enlightenment. Prayers requested for those who are still with us include prayers for Wangmo, who is undergoing health issues, and then also Marine Vu, who is experiencing difficulty with her health as well. So along with Wangmo and Marine, may all sentient beings be free from obstacles, hardship, and negative karma. May their wishes and prayers be fulfilled. May they be guided by the blessings of the three jewels, and may they experience everlasting peace and happiness.
Thank you, Krishna. Then came Burma, like same chumbush kept the wagon. Burma, you wagon, same chumbush kept shot. Sa tune that the meep Karshi is a wagon. Then a big Hong Kong, ya Kanga Tokza, Jara, but then the truth in the mercy again. They get too much. So there must be a double-sided single-sheet prayer somewhere there. First, we will do a prayer of Avalokiteshvara, Buddha of Compassion, and recite the 6-syllable mantra for the deceased. And then we will do the Healing Buddha prayer and a mantra and dedication for the living, for healing. Chadong Kolu Yue Yebo Dong Jendong Gewa Sangbe Sangye Dong Kangla Kangdu Dela Dedum Zunba Chere Sela Chavze De Om Mani Peme Hum Om Mani Peme Hum Om Mani Peme Om Mani Peme Hum Ri Gewa Di Nyodo Da Chere Sivan Rubju Ne Rowa Chi Di Salam Gwe Sho. Healing Buddha prayer. Toje Gun La Nyombe Chomden De Senzan Tebe Nyendu Dongme Se Dozon Ne Se Sangye Menje Bindu Yaye Vela Chanze De Om Namo Bhagavate Begaze Guru Bindu Ya Tabaranza Ya Tadagada Ya Arahade Samya Sambuddha Ya Teta Om Begaze Begaze Ma Begaze Beg Danza Samungadi Sowa Teta Om Begaze Begaze Ma Begaze Begaze Danza Samungadi Deyada Om Begaze Begaze Ma Begaze Begaze Danza Samungadi Sowa Gyawa Di Nyodo Da Membe Gyabun Rubju Ne Rowa Chikya Deya Salam Gwe Sho. Page 3 of this booklet. Lode Yazu Yuzhong Bega Di Kesam Pongwe Chudong Minba Shin Tenba Zinla Wangdo Gishu Changyin Chugun Jola Sowa De. Page 5. Ma Wanda Me Gunjen Donga De Kangri Zhongso Ninda Senze Wa Zhanggun Jawa Niwa Yase Changson Tinzi Mawe Shiba Tenzin Chebe Yingguo Zebe Jin Shije Nigun Changju Dendu Longdo Tamju Bebe Beyun Jin Duja Gyazu Gundo Shabden Tesang Gongda Cheze Zombe Ze Yongzo Yore Tobe Nyage Longri Degen Nebe Beden Ba Toden Kanri Tabo Shade Donang Komen Zeba Namda Gun Dendan Zhuwe Pende Zhuwe Lundro Gyumin Chebe Tenle Je Gezan Duje Gendo Shabden Chizun Lame Toge Melanda Gezan Duje Dendan Zame Chozon Dodo Jido Nomba Jida Membe Nungu Lundro Sho. Page 9. Raja Jinge Gombo Zeba Me Zodo Namye Gyun Choma Chojo Zeye Lazo Tamze Je Daden Mishe Shoge Mudu Tuden Jidan Losan Jawa Ye Shiru Tenba Zembe Beye Tade Duja Gyungwe Shenye Cho Yangdu Ninje Gombo Sowa Jiden Sungwe Shana Beme Zo Denbe Zawa Soso Taba Namda Sudin Yangda Lamba Ye Losan Genden Bedo Shade Tuzhong Gyaltsen Nongzin Yangbe Shi Samjo Namje Sangzin Junbe Bongjong Shela Songjo Debe Tenbe Mada Shenbo Shabden Sho Chebe Dongwa Kowa Bojo Zunbe Rilang Shiyu Bongzha Zi Zunbe Denden Lekshe Changjo Kizhu Xinyin Chenbo Shabden Sho Kebe Langdo Kushi Zeta Zunbe Chara Nianzo Rangza Xie Sangbe Duje Yewon Yixin Zunben Xinyin Chenbo Shabden Sho Tezang Zhula Zhabe Dende Ye Menchong Dashi Zangmen Shije Labjin Zijin Dende Besha Zenden Xinyin Chenbo Shabden Sho Shozong Yawa Seje Qinla Duden Damjin Songmen Tona Je Daja Lansang Dabe Dendo Dengwe Lundo Sho Zhangzhu Semzho Rinpo Je Ma Je Banan Geju Je Yewa Nyamba Meba Kone Gondo Bewa Sho Dongni Dawa Rinpo Je Ma Je Banan Geju Yewa Nyamba Meba Kone Gondo Bewa Sho Sa Shi Beje Sho Shi Melo Zhang Rira Lin Shi Nian De Jianpo Sanje Xin Du Mei De Riwa Lu Wen Nang Da Xin La Ju Ba Sho Kang Ri Ra We Guo Wei Xin Gang Zu Pen Dan Dewa Ma Lu Zhong Wei Xian De Si Wang Tenzin Dorjee Xia Wei Si De Ten Yu Ji Yi Dang Gu Ru Ra Na Man De La Ni Yang Da Ya Min Ye Wa Gun Do Yang Da La Man Dan De Men Xue Ji Be La Long Jue Ji Sa Da Lam Ye Yun Den Lo Ji Chang Ye Wo